Welcome to Around the Ice. For some reason, my camera is not working here. You fellas, Toast, start us off with the gambling segment, and let me figure out what's going on with me here.
No, JT, we like your face just how it is right here. You're just looking down. You look like you're super serious. The JT Brew hat pulled down, and here I thought I was going to be the only one with technical difficulties tonight, and we're just going to pause you there for the entire night. We'll wake you up when it's over, okay? So, no, hey, yeah, welcome to Around the Ice. We're our week 4 show here, and Aaron and I and JT. There's JT is back. We're gonna kick off tonight's show with talking a little bit gambling around the ice as the slate sits tonight, and there's plenty of exciting games tonight.
There we go. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened there as we got going here. A little rough start for us, but yeah, Toast. Why don't we got the one late night game here? Let's jump in and talk about the Kings Sharks game. We're about 25 minutes to puck drop there. Let's talk about any bets or anything we like on the late night game before we get into some of the action, as we have a bunch of games all in the third period. A few about ready to go final.
Yeah, Hockey Club actually thought they had the Sharks taken down, where the Sharks were going to be, you know, 0-8-2 after last night. But what man, the Sharks poured on in the third period. They came back and actually won that game. I think it was overtime in a 5-4 overtime win, and they get their first win of the season, and they're turning right back around tonight and actually hosting the Kings. And honestly, the Kings haven't been really impressive this year so far, and I believe that's actually at the that's actually at San Jose. Kings 5-2-2, and it actually maybe been impressive as a team, but from a fantasy perspective, they've really been quiet in my opinion. You got Kempe really hasn't showed himself yet. Kopitar has only had 9 shots on goal this year, even though he actually has 3 goals. I know Moore's actually been kind of quiet, and maybe they missed the when Arvidsson actually left and actually went to Edmonton. But they just, from a fantasy perspective, and Byfield, they just haven't really been the same. But honestly, I like the Sharks tonight from a prop perspective. And if you look at their guys that have been rolling so far or lately, right now, tell you what, Mikael Granlund has been rolling right now. I think he has 13. I have to look at the stats. So I'm pretty sure I was looking at it earlier today. He's got 13 points in 10 games. 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points in 10 games. But here's what I like most importantly as well: 37 shots on goal in those 10 games as well, man. They're just letting guys like Granlund and Toffoli and Zetterlund and Eklund, they're just eating. They're just eating. They're just letting those guys do what the hell they actually want to do. And they're actually on a nice little roll right now. So the play I like tonight, you can get Mikael Granlund for a point at minus 188. All right, find something to actually parlay it with. But I tell you what, here's his last games. 3 points, 1 point, 2 point, 1 point, 1 point, 2 points, 2 points. And he started the season with a 1 point, and he had 2 zeros in there as well. But those were very, very early in the season. He's on a roll. In the last 3 games, he's got 17 shots on goal as well. Tons of a time on ice. I mean, right now, man, this guy is actually averaging around 22 minutes of time on 21:46 time on ice, actually averaging. So I like him for the point parlay of that, and I really liked him for a power play point. I believe San Jose's power play I was looking at earlier today, I think they're 13th or 14th in the league. For San Jose, that's not bad at all. They're coming off a really, really big win for them to get that monkey off their back. So I like the Mikael Granlund play tonight, and I'd say put it in.
Nice, Aaron. Anything from you, or are you just going with what the Toast takes there?
I like the Granlund play, like you were saying, Toast. I think from the I think like if you watch a hockey game, San Jose is complete dog shit. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
They have looked ugly. But to your point, fantasy wise, yeah, it's not bad. Guys are getting on score sheets. A couple defensemen that have kind of started off hot too. Ferraro and then Wallman, yes. Wallman, he might even had the game winner or set up the game winner last night to get them their first win. These guys are playing good, and that was kind of on their complete teardown rebuild. That was, for me, it was my question. Like, well, how far along is their defense? I think it's pretty clear they're tanking. again. They could be. I'll have to look at this, but could be first or second team to get back-to-back 1-1 picks. I mean, just because you get the worst record doesn't mean you're going to get the lottery ball, but if they did, probably wouldn't be the end of the world. So I think, but yeah, definitely they're showing up in fantasy wise. So it's don't give up on those Sharks players. And then what you said about the Kings, kind of what you kicked off with, yeah, fantasy wise they stink, but they're 5-2-2. They're again that well, what do you want? You probably ask a Kings fan. I don't care about fantasy. I just want them to win. Want them to make the playoffs because Kopitar looks like he's out of gas, like you said. Byfield's been cutting into his line one time. He's been getting a lot of ice time, but he doesn't show up on a score sheet. He's not hitting. He's not getting assists. He's not getting goals. So I just put the bet in as you were talking. I put in the over a point for Granlund.
Yeah.
And then I got the Kings to win in regulation. So I'm going against you a little bit, but I think your point over for Granlund, that's a gimme. And then anybody listening or wanting advice, last minute advice on that, parlay that. That's the gimme of the night, and then parlay it with something else, whatever.
Yeah, and I'll speaking of dog shit, Aaron, David Riddick's in goal tonight, man. He's been brutal. And really, their goaltending, they're lucky to be 5-2-2, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they really are. I have to go back and look at their schedule and kind of see where they're at. But the goaltending hasn't been great. I know Riddick's been really bad. 874 save percentage here, 309 goals against, 3-2 just because the product may be in front of him. Or basically, I almost guarantee it's probably because of the schedule looking back. But I see it right now. The Sharks are at plus 1.5. So basically plus 1.5, they're plus 105. I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't like the price. You're better. LA, if you're going to parlay that, they're minus 300. So probably a game I'm actually staying away from on the money line. But if anything, I may take the reverse puck line and actually take the Sharks. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how that's going to go. I can't believe I'm saying that. Take the Sharks.
Well, yeah, so we've got a couple games have gone final now as we get into tonight's action. The Flyers just pulled one out 2-0. That was a 1-0 game the whole way, and then they put an empty netter in right at the end to make it 2-0. Pretty nice performance. Urson 24 saves tonight for the Flyers as they get a big win. Farabee with the empty netter. Forrester actually had the goal early in the second that got them up to 1-0. So nice win there for the Flyers as they get their second win of the year. They're now 2-6-1. Bruins dropped to 4-4-1. The Ducks, a nice little upset win at the Islanders, 3-1. And that one, the Ducks go to 4-4-1. Islanders 3-4-2. And the Wild improved to 6-1-2 with a win at Pittsburgh, 5-3. The other three games we got going on right now. Seattle Kraken 8-2 lead with a minute and a half left over Montreal, so going to easily win that one. And Ottawa absolutely hammering the Blues. That was a game that was about a 30-minute delay because of a power outage, and then Ottawa came out and scored immediately in that game and started putting it to them. St. Louis actually called a timeout like 5 minutes into that game. It might even been less as they got down with a minute in, gave up a goal. 4 minutes, gave up a second goal. They were right on them from the very beginning. Brady Tkachuk's got a couple goals in that one. Stützle with a goal, Norris with a goal. Is 7-0. It was at one point just got a goal from Holloway from St. Louis to make it 7-1 with about 9 minutes left in that game. And then the game of the night right now, the close game, Washington currently up 4-3 on the Rangers with about 14 minutes left in that one. Ovechkin getting the opener. He also added a second goal, looking to get to the hat trick possibly late in this one. As nice little start here from the Capitals, a team we weren't all very big fans of going into the season, but they've off to a pretty decent little start here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Aaron. Yeah, go ahead and talk about the Caps.
Yeah, Caps are well said, JT. I think that, again, with Spencer Carterberry, I've talked him up a couple of times. He just seems to have a pretty good handle on the guys, the team. He came up paid his dues, came up from the ECHL all the way through the ranks and coached under some pretty good head coaches in the NHL or learned from them. So real good guy. It kind of starts there. And then again, when we did our pre-show, our preview shows, and arguably, I think we might have, paraphrasing here, but Washington and Nashville had, most of the free agent moves. Well, you talk about, one working and one not working. It's like Nashville is just, they are dog shit right now. And the Washington they're playing well. And again, like you said, JT, that, Ovechkin putting 2 in, 38 goals short of the record. And I don't know if you guys caught the game the other night. Might have been, I can't remember if it was a Frozen Frenzy night or whatever, but it might have been over the weekend. All these games are starting to blend in already. But Ovi got his last goal before this game on an empty netter. And I'm telling you, I haven't seen him skate that hard in 2 years. The dude broke. That was empty. They pulled the goalie. They just happened to cough it up. He jumps off the bench and he was gone. And they fed him and he tucked it in for a goal. So we may get the trick, like you said, JT, tonight. But yeah, just overall great play from Washington. Washington had another great scrap. McElrath and Rempe went tonight. A real good toe-to-toe, couple big guys just throwing bombs. Yeah.
Rempe's in there, yeah. Shocker.
Right. Yeah, they dumped him down there for a game or two in the AHL, brought him back up for this one, had a pretty good tilt. So he got cut too. Rempe got cut. McElrath cut him, but what can you surprise Washington? I love the team, love the guys. I hope we get more of this because it's been a real good game. And again, to get the over, if you're one of those that just likes to bet the overs, which is a lot of fun to do in hockey, who doesn't want to see goals scored? That over hit with about 15 minutes to go in the second period. Haven't scored a goal since, but you get a win like that, you might be on playing with house money. So yeah, real awesome start by the Caps.
And I'll add one thing here, and piggybacking off Toast takes tonight, that was really big on Kirill Kaprizov to get multiple points tonight, going up against a Pittsburgh team that gives up the second most. I think they either first or second most shots on goal in the league, and it's not close. They're not good. They're not a very good team at all. Man, the Wild. How about the Central Division? Just coming out gangbusters, man. Has proven themselves to be the best division in hockey through the first 4 weeks. But Kaprizov, check out these stat line guys for the points anyway. Just points. Tonight, 3 points. And I'm going to count backwards. 2 points, 3 points, 2, 2, 2, 0, 3, 1. That's been his line this year. He's got 18 points through 9 games. Absolutely tearing it up. I'm really encouraged the fact that only 6 of those points were on the power play, and 12 were actually at even strength. I mean, that's something right there. So what a start for this guy. This is a guy that's probably going 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere there in redrafts. And that's exactly where he probably went in our draft as well. I think he went somewhere around 10th, 11th, somewhere around there. So he's outplaying a lot of those guys in the top 5.
Yeah, he's been on fire. They got down 2-0 tonight, and then big comeback. Gaudreau also in there with him. He had a nice night himself as he had 2 goals and assist as well as both those guys put up 3 points. Let's take a little quick look here at the injury updates for everybody kind of looking through in fantasy. Connor McDavid, ankle sprain, flew back to Edmonton. Waiting on an update on kind of how long he might possibly out, but that's obviously huge for fantasy purposes. Freddie Anderson, no surprise, lower body injury, always injured. That guy seems like, so he's back on the injury list. Celebrini, he's still week to week. So Sharks probably going to take their time with him. And then Robert Thomas, he's got, I think he fractured his ankle. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. Anybody else you guys can think of off the top of your heads? We're looking at injury wise for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, I caught a bit of that Pittsburgh game. So the game you were just talking about their toast that wrapped up with Kaprizov. Just it seems like he's playing on more than one line. Maybe I don't know what his time on ice is, but the dude's everywhere. He's
He
always
played
touching the puck. But
28. He played 28 minutes there night versus St. Louis, and it was not an overtime
oh,
game. How about that?
that's like Drew Doughty minutes. This guy,
Yeah,
you can't get him
insane.
off the ice. Jeez.
No.
No, but yeah, the just before Pittsburgh, Brian Rust, he's now moved. They moved him to the IR. He's week to week with lower body. That was kind of a game time decision. So anybody that's maybe in the deeper league, he probably wasn't drafted in a redraft league, to be honest. But if you're in a deep league or a dynasty league or salary cap league, then yeah, that looks like we'll be without Bryan. I say we because he's on my team, of course. So I'm just filling up those IR spots. McDavid, like you said, JT, he's on my team, and Rust, and here we go. So yeah, yep, Bryan Rust is out for a little while.
Yeah, and I mentioned, I'll tell you what, the Hawks went into Colorado last night and beat Colorado 5-2. It was 3-2, and they got a couple empty netters there at the end. Hawks played probably one of their best games of the season. They really needed that big win there. And you could just tell how banged up Colorado is right now. And now they're actually going to miss Ross Colton even longer. Speaking of my fantasy team there, Ross Colton was off to just an amazing start.
Yeah.
8 goals and an assist through 10
Yes.
games. But even better yet, 37 shots on goal in those 10 games, 28 hits, 9 blocks. I mean, just filling it up. And it's never good when a coach comes out and is like, he's going to miss some time. that means, hey, you're going to miss at least a couple weeks, at least. So he's going to be out, and they're just their own life support right now as far as this bodies. I mean, they're missing Druin, Lehkonen, Nichushkin to the players assistant program. Landeskog still hasn't actually come up there yet. Now they actually miss Colton, and I think I'm actually missing somebody else. Honestly, I mean, they're playing some guy named Ivan, which I kind of dig. He's actually on a power play, but his name's Ivan. And I'm like, should I pick him up? Should I not? You know, like just for the name alone. But that just goes to show you, man, they are desperate right now.
Yeah. Started playing well. Like they're getting some wins, but I don't know how. Yeah. But yeah, they're on their kind of fourth string. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do now with. I did not realize the Ross Colton was going to be out that long, and because of injuries, the guy got lined one time, and he's made the most of it, and he's a tough, gritty player too. He'll go in there, get the hits, get the fights. He's putting in the goals, but I guess we won't see him for a while. I'm on daily face-off now. It doesn't even have a replacement. Anybody's guess who's going to slot into that number one left wing spot. We'll see.
That Kovalenko, I don't know much about him, but word is he may actually slide in there. But the injury bug, man, the injury ninja has actually come up and actually bit this year. I think it's been more injuries to start the season than I can remember through 10 games. There's been a lot.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to a new segment we got here. We're going to call this one the 3-minute shift. This is where we've got some players off to some slow start, looking to get a bounce back. What are some of the guys we're looking at so far this year, fantasy wise? They haven't produced for us, fantasy managers, but looking to hopefully see if these guys can turn around here quickly.
Yeah, Aaron, I'll start with this here because you're wearing the Edmonton hat tonight. I know you wore it on a couple of shows, and I know that you just gasped a little bit last night when McDavid actually went down. And let's hope it's not actually too on, because honestly, not having McDavid in there really impacts not only the fantasy landscape, but also the gambling landscape as well. We win a lot of money off Edmonton just because they're very predictable, and when you actually have the best player in the world on your team. But there's that trickle down effect. But really, what has not been a trickle down effect from Hyman or from McDavid actually being injured is Zach Hyman. The start for Zach Hyman, and he's on my fantasy team. I can't believe I'm 3-0 and I actually have Hyman, who I actually drafted third round, I believe, for our dynasty league. No goals and an assist through 10 games. He is shooting a little bit, just under 3 shots a game, so that's not bad. Last 3 seasons with Edmonton, I got it written down right here: 27 goals, 36 goals, and 54 goals. He's had shots on goals of 213, 276, and 290, and he's shot a career, or with Edmonton, the last 3 years, 15%. So, I mean, for him to be able to actually get to that 41 goal pace is where if he gets that 275 shots, that's where he's going to pace. If he can hit that 15% again, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Now, he's a guy that actually plays in front of the net. He actually does all the dirty work. You got to actually have guys putting the puck on the net as well. And man, I was looking earlier, still couldn't believe it. Edmonton, they're 27th in the league in power play. Can you believe it? I mean, 27th, man. There's obviously a little bit of a hangover there, actually losing the game 7. It's showing. But I am a little concerned about Hyman. He's never really played without McDavid in Edmonton, and the short amount of time he's scored 3 points in 5 games. This has been a very, very small sample size there. But it's funny. His all the geek numbers, the Corsi, the Fenwick, all those are still trending up right now, believe it or not. So I think this is a time right now, an unbelievably slow start, but I would be trying to actually go knock on a door for Zach Hyman owners and see if there's any interest there, because you're never going to buy lower on a guy that actually plays with the deployment he gets playing with the best player in the world.
Yeah, we touched on him a bit last week too, but I agree with everything you just said. But yeah, it just seems like there's something. And watch some of that game last night. Not to crap on Hyman too much or the Oilers too much. That's why I got the hat on, trying to turn it around for the guys. Hopefully this just something, anything, because they're not looking so hot. But last night when they lost McDavid, I mean they did not look good. Nobody going into that first line center. You think, okay, it's Leo's. Yeah, well, he didn't look good. None of them looked good last night.
No.
To let 6 in, and Skinner, we were talking about him last week and the week before. He just stinks. So we'll see. But yeah, at least like you said though, you did touch on the geek numbers. At least those are trending in the right way. It's when you get the combination of those, those Corsi and the Fenwick, and he's not getting his opportunities, nor is he getting the ice time. That's when you got a real problem. You got to think, okay, last year was a fluke. I don't think it was a fluke. I mean, again, the shots and the percentages line up. He's just got to get it going. But next guy I got on the list of the 3-minute shift, and again, that 3-minute shift, I just love that because nobody wants a 3-minute shift. If you're in a 3-minute shift, you're digging the puck out of your defensive zone. You're not getting on anybody's fantasy score. You're gassed and you look terrible. So yeah. And again, there's hopefully these guys can get off these 3-minute shifts and we can get them back to where we see them. But guy, I'm going to talk a little bit about Trevor Zegras. I think JT, did you say Anaheim won? Yeah, you said Anaheim won, right? They won tonight?
Yeah, 3-1.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So didn't see Zegras' name on the score sheet here. Just pulling this up now. It doesn't want to pull up, but he
did not.
Yeah, Zegras, he was not in the mix. They got a nice game from Vetrano, and Carlson also had a goal, and McDavid had 2 assists. So Vetrano had a goal and assist. McDavid had 2 assists, and then also Carlson got the opener on a power play.
This intrigues me because again, Anaheim is that, and we've talked about them a bunch here because of all the excitement on this young talented team and the interesting strategy that Verbeek's doing with the drafting, and he's not taking the what the consensus pick has been. He did that 2 years in a row. We talked about that in our preview, but Zegras, I just don't get this guy. I feel like I got to watch more Anaheim games to get a handle on it. So I'm going to take homework from this pod into the next one and watch as many Anaheim games because he's getting 17 minutes a game. But Corsi, Fenwick are terrible, abysmal. When he is getting the puck, he's not doing anything with it. He's just skating around doing nothing. I haven't watched many games, so I want to catch a game or two and just see what's going on with this guy because I don't know. 1.7. So in our banger league, as you know, some of the listeners, everybody in our league knows, but listeners may not. It's goals, assists, hits, blocks, PIMs. Zegras 1.75 points per game for the first couple of weeks. Just, and he went late, so it's not like he was, oh, this is a 5th round guy that's just stinking up the place. I mean, he went late in most drafts. He's had his history of injuries, but this is bad. This is just bad. If I go the opposite, you just said, Toast, you got somebody, hey, let's kick the tires on Hyman. Might be a good time to buy low. Zegras, if you got him, just no, don't ask about him. If you got him, look for a sucker. Get rid of him, unload him. He's crap. But that's just too bad because he's exciting to watch. He's back in the day when he do the Michigan goals and all that, and he chirps and taunts and all that. He seems like he's got the great personality. Just the skill might. And maybe there's lingering injury. I don't know. He missed a lot of time last year, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got some value in Dynasty, right? I mean, but besides that, you're right, in redrafts, no value right now at all. I mean, not doing anything. And I was looking at the Ducks time on ice just for the season and stuff. Man, is this kind of like maybe what the Islanders kind of deploy at times, or what? Like everybody's even. They like play everybody even and like limit everybody to that 17 minutes and under stuff. Like, yeah, even looking tonight. Petrano, McTavish, and Leo Carlson, Strome, and you got Zegras, Lundstrom, Cutter Gauthier like at 11. Like everybody's 16 minutes and around and under for the most part. Just this is odd. You would think that these guys that you want to wagon your team to and that are going to be your young studs and you want to give them all that experience, they're going to be seeing close to 20 minutes a night, at least 19 something, but it's just not happening. So I'm not really sure what they're doing there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's odd. That is odd.
Toast, another guy, a guy that I'm a big fan of, you stole from me in the home league. The stats aren't terrible, but it's just not exactly what you expect. What's going on with Jack Hughes of the Devils?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing I've actually taken right now is Nico Hischier is just lights out. And then you got like Stefan Noesen and Cotter. They're stealing all the goals, man. Like these guys aren't supposed to score. And so I expected him. I think right now, I was looking at this here. He's on pace for 275 shots on goal, which I was hoping when I drafted him, he'd actually be well over 300. And he still may end up being. So he's still shooting a lot. He's getting around 4 shots a game. He's only shooting 7%. He's not a high percentage shooting guy. If he could hit right around 13%, he's going to end up with what's pace for right now at 36 goals. When I drafted him, and again, I'm gonna be very happy with him in Dynasty. I actually drafted him for the long haul. I think he's only 23 years old, but I expected that he'd be well over 40 goals and well over 50 assists, and you're knocking on the door of 100 points every year. And right now, again, like you said, it's not a bad start. It's just not what I expected of Jack Hughes. So good thing again is all the geek numbers are in line with his career averages. That's another guy. I kind of put it down here. Like Jack Eichel is just showing his ass right now. And the entire Vegas team is just showing their asses. And I thought they'd be awful. I'll just have to eat crow on that, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I still can't believe Eichel is actually going to make it through a season. But if you could actually have Eichel and you can actually go trade for Hughes straight up, you do that right now and you don't even actually think about it. Because Eichel, we've talked about how injured Eichel is all the time. I mean, he's averaging probably in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 games a season. I mean, so he's going to be hurt again at some point. If he doesn't, man, Eichel's on some pace right now. And I know he's capable of keeping it up, but I would make a trade like that right now. I'd be going out. If you got Jack Eichel, don't be expecting that's going to last long and say, hey, I'm going to go get me some Jack Hughes, Jack for Jack.
So I know it's not technically who we would talk about in the segment of being Cole, but the two guys that have actually played really well, opposite him, and I have them on my fantasy team is, like you said, it was Nico Hischier and then Paul Cotter. I picked him up early. He's averaging 4.8 points a game in our in our home league, just slightly ahead of what Hersher's put up. So I was pretty happy when I picked him up early in. He was a guy that I wasn't, didn't get drafted in our home league, and he's been a really nice addition here to start things off.
Yeah, I know Cotter's really shooting at a super high percentage right now.
Mm-hmm.
His deployment isn't all that great. I do know he bangs. He really, really bangs. Gets in there and actually gets you all those peripherals and stuff like that right now. I was pulling up a stat card right now. So 6 goals on 22 shots, so he's shooting close to 30%. He's never really done a whole lot there, and I know his deployment is great. He's only getting 13 minutes of time on ice, but again, great pickup. And if you didn't actually have to give a whole lot to Dynasty League to actually get him, he's young. See how long it lasts, and at the worst thing, you can drop him. So it's not like it's a cap league. He's only 24 years old. Maybe they will start giving him a little bit more than the 13 minutes he's actually getting. But definitely a surprise. And he's valuable in our league because, again, he just does all the dirty stuff as well. And by chance happens to continue to score.
Yeah, that's how he leads my team in overall hits with 32, and he also has 4 blocks. 32 hits, leads my team by far. Blake Coleman, the second guy on my team, with 24. So Cotter getting those hits are nice night to night. Even though he isn't getting a ton of playing time, he is getting you points in a bangers league. So he was a nice early surprise for me. I picked him up, I think, was first or second week of the season.
Yeah, for sure. You got to love those guys, JT, because they you can count on them. Like you said, a banger, 2.5, 3.5 points a game. I mean, anybody pulling in 3.5 points a game, I'd say that's what you want to target. But then when he shows up on the score sheet, his 3.5 points become a 10-point. He's a double-digit scorer, this guy. So if
who is this guy?
And New Jersey's and New Jersey's playing a very, very they've had some breakdowns. They've had some defensive breakdowns. They started off on fire. They kind of cooled off. So they're a little schizophrenic at the moment, but they are playing a decent team game. And it could be that a lot of teams are defensively just kind of honing in on Hughes and trying to shut him down. Then you got your third liners, your Cotters, I don't think Eric Hall has done a whole lot, but those types of role players are coming through and putting the puck in the net. So New Jersey's, even though they're not, I know they kind of hit a rough patch. They're still a lot of fun to watch. I do like watching them now.
And let's head back to Edmonton, a guy on the opposite side on my fantasy team who has been absolutely horrible to start off this season. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, dead last on my team in scoring with 1.71 points per game average in a bangers league. What has happened with him?
Yeah, and I think most of what Toast walked us through with Hyman and his ice time, who he's with, I think a lot of that really translates to Nuge as well. He was a 1-1 pick back in the day, but he's never been a standout guy. Like, never been, hey, get on my back, I'm going to carry the team. He's always been a line 2 guy, a role player, a second fiddle, or a beneficiary to a Leo Draisaitl or a Connor McDavid. So when those two start cold, the arguably the big two, when McDusty and Draisaitl start out cold, this guy's ice cold. So and I've watched a lot of Oilers games. Washington just got an empty netter to see if it's Ovi. I don't know. That doesn't look like it. Anyway, no, it wasn't. It's looks like it was Dowd. Shoot. But yeah, with Nuge, it's just the record doesn't show how concerning the start is. Like, the Edmonton came back and they've beat some teams, but just like you were saying, Toast, their power play just isn't quite there. So yeah, just a guy again that he went decently high, probably that mid-round guy, redraft leagues, dynasty leagues. He's probably a top 15 round guy, and he's just 1.71 points per game. According to Fantrax, he's on 95% of the roster. So most of you out there, somebody, if you don't own him, then somebody does, that he's just he's dead weight right now. Now, he's a guy that can also turn it back around. It's nothing for him to get on the score sheet, but he's not out there hitting. He sure as heck isn't getting in front of pucks. So unless he's getting on that tally sheet, he's getting that secondary or that primary assist, or he's getting set up on goals that Hyman seems to last year took all of them. Yeah, you might be stuck with this guy at about 2.5 points per game just based on the way he plays. So we'll see. I don't know. My honest take on him right now, early part of this season, is it probably won't be the only time we put him on the three-minute shift list here. We might see his name a couple of times over the week. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, and Aaron, we know that Edmonton's so reliant on their special teams and their power play.
Yeah.
Those last 2 seasons has been historic finishes of the power play. I think one year they actually was 32% clip or something like that at the end of the season. That's the year that Hopkins, I'm actually looking right now, Nuge actually had 53 power play points. And then last year he had 26. This year he's got 1. So, I mean, and again, it goes down the road. This happened the same thing, same type of statistics and runs with Hyman. And even McDavid was not McDavid this year, even when he was actually healthy before he was hurt. 3 goals, 7 assists through 10 games, point per game. That's pretty awful for him. So they haven't been right. I'm not really sure, but if their power play is going to stay at 27th, there's going to be a lot of upset people that actually drafted Edmonton guys. And let's face it, it's not going to stay at 27th. They'll end up being a top 5 power play this year. They'll get hot, and man, they'll be like, remember that start they had just like last year, and then they'll just put up stupid numbers for like 3 weeks. But we got to wait to see what's happened to McDavid. He can't be injured for any period of time. It better just be a game or 2. But him flying back, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, Toast talking about teams that really struggle to score. The Bruins going down 2-0 tonight to the Flyers. Bruins are 4-5-1. They've got some superstars that are have been really struggling to start off this fantasy season as well.
Yeah, Brad Marchand. I'm just mentioning all the guys I drafted, which is funny because I'm 3-0. I'm second in the league in points, and all of my guys that I actually drafted that I really drafted high, especially like Hughes and Hyman and Bouchard, I'm still winning without these guys. I haven't done anything yet. So it's a good sign. It's a really, really good sign. Yeah. But I remember I got Marchand in the 17th round, and I was thinking that's a steal. And for a dynasty, it probably is a steal, meaning I can just pitch into the curb anytime I want. It's not a big deal. He's 36 years old, but the decline started last year, I believe. And I think this year's just kind of reaffirmed that the time's kind of done, likely for Marchand putting up Marchand type of numbers. This year he's got 6 points in 9 games. Sounds okay. He's only got 1 goal. But the really concerning thing for me is the fact that 23 shots on goals in 9 games. He's not shooting a puck. And what's even more concerning is what does Marchand actually do to kind of get going and get underneath the skin of other teams and to really get his offensive production going, and he gets involved in the game. He's only got 7 hits in 9 games. That's not Marchand. That's not him. So he is getting a lot of power play time on ice at 4 minutes and 30 seconds a game. But it's almost like what I actually described what was actually going on in New Jersey with those guys actually taking away points from the mainstays like Marchand and Pasternak. You got Kastelik, you got Kepke, you got Beecher. If you go look at the stats and stuff, these guys are scoring. They're actually stealing stats. So you got guys like Elias Lindholm and Brad Marchand and actually even Pasternak that they just don't really look great right now. So I don't know. I drafted Marchand in the 17th round. His ADP was 96. Let's just maybe hope that nobody really drafted him sooner than that because you'd be pretty disappointed right now. But I'm guessing the underlying stats don't look all that great because they took a dip last year, the Corsi and the Fenwick, and they've stayed there this year. So I just think this is probably the start of the decline. And let's just hope for good things moving forward for Brad Marchand, but it really hasn't been great so far.
Yeah, and
Aaron, how about you for your last guy here on the 3-minute shift? Just talking about the Kings games, getting ready to start here on the late night game. We got a Kings player, a young guy that we kind of all had decent hopes for that he would come out and maybe kind of shine a little bit here at the start of the season, but just a real slow start so far for Quentin Byfield.
Yeah, and again, we touched on a little bit before. The Kings are, again, they're 5-2-2, but nobody knows how that's even possible. They're just not getting uh, the normal guys on the score sheet. But yeah, Quentin Byfield, and it's not that he's been playing poorly. He's been playing very well enough to earn that line one time. But again, it's a 200-foot game. Well, that doesn't always translate to fantasy. So he's getting the minutes, 18 minutes per game. He's defensively sound. I mean, maybe this guy will win a whole closet full of Selke trophies, being the best defensive forward one day. I mean, he's certainly got the talent to do something like that. But if you're not a Kings fan, which most of us aren't, but you do play fantasy hockey, which we all do. 77% of all Fantrax leagues he's owned. Hitting is not really his game. I know JT last week, you, Jack, and I, we talked about the Heiskanen. Why is Heiskanen such a highly rated guy? Well, he's really good. He doesn't block shots because he just takes the puck from guys. He's like that shutdown cornerback that doesn't make sense to draft him, but for real team, you really want this guy. That's Quentin Byfield. Hell of a player, hell of a skater. He's going to be a stud in the league. He's going to, like I said, probably win some trophies for his own stats. But if LA can do a rebuild here, he might win a couple of cups as well. But he's a good player. He's getting, like I said, the time on ice, about 18 minutes per game. But it's just not stuff that's translating to fantasy, at least right now. He's a 1.81 points per game. And again, unless he's getting that goal or that assist, which they haven't come so far, they're at least not what we've seen especially the second half of last year. You're just not getting a good value. Dynasty leagues, if those of you are in dynasty leagues or salary cap leagues, he's probably a guy that went pretty high, and you may be a little bummed out on your return so far. Redraft leagues, this guy's probably towards the end of your draft, and hey, if you're not getting a big return on him, you didn't expect one, but he could turn it around. You could get back into that. But a guy I expect, unlike Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, this will probably be the only time we talk about him on the 3-minute shift list. So let's hope. He's fun to watch.
All right, now that we talked about the guys kind of off the slow starts, let's talk about some of the guys that are playing well right now. This is our buzzing hands segment. Some of the guys that maybe aren't widely owned across leagues, but especially in bangers leagues that are scoring pretty well. Who are you guys looking at, and who's kind of playing well right now, are possible guys that go out there and get picked up if you're in a dynasty league or even possibly in a redraft league?
I'd say if you're in a redraft league, a guy you might want to take a look at, Adam Lowry. According to Fantrax right now, as of today, he's owned in about 24% of the leagues. If you're in a redraft league and you're in a banger league, he's averaging over four points a game. He is on the third line in Winnipeg, but Winnipeg has surprised all critics. I know they got pounded last night, but minus that game, that was actually, I think that was our first loss. They were undefeated before then. So these guys are exceeding expectation. They're playing really good hockey. And Lowry, again, we've talking about guys, those vultures that are stealing points from the big names. Not so much. Lowry's just keeping pace with the big names. He's getting points. Not to the effect that like Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor, even in the loss last night, had a hattie. So that dude's just playing. Shifley's off to a great start. So really, again, a fun team to watch. But Lowry's right there with them. And he's that guy, again, most leagues, 76% of leagues, he's sitting out there on the free agent wire. Definitely worth a pickup, especially if we talked about the injuries. You lost Bryan Rust. This guy might permanently take over his spot if I'm out there in a redraft league. And forget Rust, forget the Penguins. I'll get on this guy, ride him out for the rest of the year. If I'm in a banger league, he probably shouldn't be on the free agent list because he's pretty well known. And then dynasty draft, he's a little up there in age, but again, a great start so far. And it's just one of those guys, if you've got the moves, especially if you're in a head-to-head league, I mean, you got to win week to week. is the kind of guy you want to get out there to, especially if you got some room. Now that the IR, to your point, Toast, a lot of injuries so far, you probably got the space. Go ahead and give him a shot.
Yeah, so who's the next guy up? Who do you got as one of your buzzing hands for the week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with instead of the guys that really are like low owned in the leagues, I'm gonna go with maybe guys that were low on ADP. I know we were 4 weeks in the season, but we can still kind of talk about ADP and Mark Stone. So Mark Stone, I want to read off how many games he's played per season in his career. Starting from last year and counting backwards: 18, 59, 65, 55, 37, 43, 56. He's played in every game so far this year, tearing it up. 5 goals, 13 assists, 18 points in 10 games while shooting 22%. 7 power play points. He's getting over 19 minutes of time on ice. If you heard maybe what I was talking about Eichel earlier, just kind of see Mark Stone, right? And I'm not going to say they're the same player or not. Eichel is a superstar, but they've had the same problem: is they can't actually stay on the ice. So Stone, traditionally, he's 32 years old, but you kind of feel like he's 35 or 36. He's on pace for about 180 shots on goal. He's shooting high right now. He's at 8% above his career shooting percentage, but this has been probably the best start of his career, maybe even going back to his Ottawa days. I mean, honestly, and they're going crazy right now. But the geek numbers for the Corsi and the Fenwick suggest that this pace may not last, and which really is kind of a big if. So again, this is it for me. I mean, enjoy it while it lasts, ride it out. But if I'm the owner of Mark Stone, I'm actually saying maybe that Nico Hischier, who's also another often injured player, or a Timo Meyer for New Jersey, because they're both off to really, really good starts. Maybe again, you can fleece somebody and actually say, move Mark Stone now while you can, because you'll never, ever actually have value this high this early in the season. And you should just strike with irons hot, get rid of them.
Aaron, how about you? What's the next guy you got up on your list here?
Yeah, next guy, I'll be honest, I know nothing about this guy other than he's put up a stat that I don't know how anybody in the whole world of the history of the NHL could ever sustain this, but it's Kiefer Sherwood. We're in a He absolutely is. He's a third liner in Nashville. You know, Nashville's is a shit start, whatever, but not this guy. Not for lack of trying. He averages. So he's only owned in 26% of the leagues according to Fantrax. Again, I know not all are bangers, blah blah blah. If you're not in a banger league, get in a banger league. They're a ton of fun. But he's only owned in 26% of the leagues. He's averaging 7 hits per game. He played when they played the Blackhawks. Didn't get to watch it because it was blocked out, but I went to the stat sheet. He had 12 minutes of ice time. He had 12 hits. That's 1 hit per shift. How does somebody jump over those boards and get a hit every shift? And a hit,
Wow.
they don't count them all. They don't count them all. You really have to move somebody off their skates, not knock them out or knock them to the ground, but you got to move a body. You got to change their direction for that to be a hit. I don't have the dictionary definition of what they count as a hit, but somebody's got to take notice. For him to do that every shift, that's insane. He's 29 years old, so he's obviously he's got some mileage under the hood there, but he's just one of those bangers. Why we call the league what we call it. He's adding a lot of grit to the skilled team right now in our home league. I don't know if you guys have looked at this, and I can't remember off the top of mind who drafted him or if somebody picked him up in the free agent. I've never seen his name. I don't know anything about him right now.
He's owned.
Yeah. He's owned, but I can't remember if it was Martini that took him or if it was
Dietz.
Is it Dietz? Dietz,
Yeah.
yes. This guy is the 6th rated player in our home league. This nerd, this third line nerd, is the 6th overall player on our fantasy through 4 weeks. It's not like it's okay, week 1, whatever. No, this guy's been top 10 from day one. So Yeah, Kiefer Sherwood, man, keep those hands buzzing because it's working. He's like JT, the guy we were talking about before on your team that gets a couple of hits. Cotter, same with this dude,
Mhm.
like Kiefer Sherwood, when when he's putting up 12 hits a game, and he happens to get a secondary assist, and all of a sudden he's worth 12 points that one single day. So hats off to Dietz for the crystal ball there. I don't know how he knew about him or if he just farting around and needed to fill a spot or whatever. Good pickup.
Yeah, he's going to be super valuable in cat leagues as well. To kind of just cover those hits and just get that category taken care of for some teams. And he's probably out there. He's probably out there to actually get a lot of
Yeah.
category leagues as well. And especially if it's a cap category leagues, well, it's at $1.5 million. And I guarantee a guy like that's not signing long term. I mean, so I would assume he has a 1 year deal under his belt, maybe 2 tops or whatever. But so there's not much to shed there either. Want to retain him maybe 25% of the salary if you shed him. So if you're in a cat league and you need hits, I'd say go get Sherwood right now. That's insane.
We got about 8-9 minutes left here in the show. Just a couple more guys to go through. Toast, we've talked about this team a lot. It's just your adopted team. The Senators 8-1 win tonight. Josh Norris got things started off with a goal of 1 minute into this game, and it was from that moment on, it was all Senators tonight against the Blues as they just piled it on. So tell me a little bit about what you're seeing out of Josh Norris so far this year.
I'm gonna do rapid fire, JT, because I know we're up against the clock here. We want to try to finish here soon, but just again, a lot of my thing is guys with ADP. It's pretty low, ADP of 200, and the only reason it was down there is because his health concerns. He's had surgery on that left shoulder 3 times right now, but man, as he come out of the gates nice tonight or this season, and through 9 games now, he's got 8 points. He's got 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points through 9 games. And I like also the fact that 20 hits and 10 blocks through those games as well for a guy that gets PP1. And also has actually had Giroux and Batherson on either side of him. Again, you're just hoping for the best. It's like Stone, but the reason it's different than Stone, the fact that this guy's only 25 years old. So, I mean, this is one where you definitely want to target him in those dynasty leagues. And again, I hope for the best. If it doesn't work out, okay. But he plays on Chicago North. That's what I call my Ottawa Senators, Chicago North. I mean, even though they're nowhere close to Chicago, but it doesn't matter. They're north of Chicago or east or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I love this entire team. But Josh Norris has got so much talent, man. He's got a big contract too. He's got a big contract. So, but stay healthy. Have that shoulder hold up, and it's going to be a big season for Norris.
Yeah, Aaron, who's the last guy on your list here for your buzzing hands of this week?
Yeah, we talked about him before the start that Minnesota Wild's on. Jake Middleton back on the D. He's pretty much just hits and pims and again the banger's banger block shots rather not pims but block shots. That's kind of his game, a defensive defenseman, but he's showed up on the stat sheet, the score sheet. So he's got a couple 2-3 goals on the year, a couple of assists. Right now, he's owned in 40% of the leagues. So chances are, whatever your format, he may be sitting out there. 60% of the leagues have say he's available as a free agent. But right now, again, when we're counting those hits and those blocks along with his point production, I expect the point production to fall off. So he's not going to keep this pace up. But right now, he's at 4.91 points per game. Getting that out of a defenseman in any league, I don't care what your scoring format. When you're getting close to 5 points a game, that's next level stuff. That's tier 2 or 3 level defenseman. So that's this dude's. He started strong. He's going with it. Kind of where maybe I thought Brock Faber would be right now. This is where Jake Middleton is at the moment. Again, those roles could flip flop, but hats off to him. His hands are buzzing. Keep him going. Love watching the Wild.
Toast, your final guy. The defending champs. We talked about him a ton last year. Is off to another great start. How about Sam Bennett?
Well, Sam Bennett's having a career year so far with an ADP of 180. He's still only 86% rostered as well. He did actually benefit from Barkov being out a little bit. That got him a little bit more time, a little bit more better deployment. But Bennett is leading our bangers league in points. He's number 1 player. right now. I mean, who actually saw that happening? No one. He actually did finish off obviously really strong last year for the champs. From a fantasy perspective, he did as well. He just always likes to fight. He always actually throw his body around as well. So he's also had a hard time staying healthy. But he's got 30 hits, man, 10 blocks as well, 38 shots on goal. He's filling up the stat sheet, doing everything. What I call, again, my moniker anyway, but a banger's league dream. That's what he is right now. So he's shooting 21%. He's only a career 10% shooter. But the thing is, he's pacing for about 270 shots on goal. So I don't even know. Let's say it falls off to 15%. He's still actually trending for over 30 goals. I mean, so for a guy like that hits like that, and has a deployment, he gets to actually play with Kachuk, and who else is he? Yeah, Kachuk and Verhaeghe. I mean, geez. I mean, look at the deployment this guy actually gets. So only 28 years old. Maybe he's a late bloomer. Maybe he's like your Brad Marchand. We talked about Marchand earlier. Maybe Sam Bennett's now just kind of becoming that type of player. Let's hope so, because for the people who actually drafted him, I mean, for 180 on average, and they struck gold, man. He is the biggest surprise in all of fantasy hockey so far.
Agreed.
That's going to finish out our Buzzing Hands segment. Coming down the final few moments of the show here. Final face-off for you guys. Final thoughts for this week. Any bets you like? Any players you're kind of looking towards as we continue here? Or it's hard to believe 4 weeks in now to the fantasy hockey season. What are our final thoughts for the night?
Right now, I'll just say I got the San Jose and LA game on behind me. Again, Granlund, we need that point. Another reason why I actually took San Jose tonight, or Granlund tonight, is the fact that not only have they coming off that win, and not only has he really been lighting up the score sheet lately, and I talk about that trend he'd actually had, but LA can't stay out of the box, and that's actually been evident not only tonight, but they are almost tops in the league in actually just penalty minutes, and they've already given up 2 power plays. Now they're 0 for 2, San Jose is, but LA has already given them 2 power plays. We're less than 10 minutes into the game, so I'm liking the way it's trending. It was a 3-leg parlay of I believe Kaprizov with the point, ended up being Giroux with the point. And then we need to finish off Granlund with a point. I believe that was somewhere around plus 500. So if we could hit that, that'd be a nice little win tonight.
Yeah, and a reminder, if you are on X or on Twitter, make sure you check out, follow Toast at Toast Clark, where he posts his Toast takes and his favorite bets every day. Obviously, with us just doing on the show on Tuesday, we try to bring up some of the bets, but definitely go on there for all your betting action throughout the week. Aaron, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, I actually, usually Saturday's kind of the go-to for after college football, but Saturday's typically the go-to for the NHL because so many games. There's 11 games slated. I'm actually looking forward to Friday. So Friday there's an afternoon game, Panthers and Stars. I hate betting the under, but I'm going to take the under on that one. I think 2 defensive teams that are system teams. You talk about Sam Bennett. You talk about Miro Heiskanen. These are kind of shutdown type players. Matty Duchene's having a great year. But two real just tier 2 level goaltenders there are going head to head. That'll be Friday. Again, that's an afternoon game. So when you're messing around and dodging meetings, go ahead and pull that one up. That should be a good one. And then Senators, your boys, you guys' adopted team. I can't wait till you get the sweaters, man. When you guys get the Senators sweaters, you can maybe coordinate it so you're wearing them on the same day. But you got the Sens and the Rangers. So Senators have been a blast to watch. They're finally catching up to some of those expectations. Rangers have been scoring a ton. Yeah, they lost in the shootout tonight to the Caps, which is awesome. But looking forward to that one. Bet every dollar you got in your wallet on the over on that one because I think those two teams are high flying. You're going against Shesterkin, but it won't matter. Senators are just plowing through. They're putting up a lot of goals. That would be a fun over. So maybe an over under on Friday.
All right, that's going to do it for us here on Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames. Thanks everybody for joining us. Go ahead and follow Toast at Toast Clark, me at JT Orange, and Aaron at Titch4141 on the Twitter machine. Thanks everybody. We'll check next week.